What is up, my dudes? We've got the Corporate Esports Association 32 Spring 2019 tournament, and today we've got the playoffs now. We're starting in the playoffs. The regular season is finally over after 8 grueling weeks, and this is the round of 32. There are 21 teams though, so a lot of buys this week. But we're in game 2 of Facebook Slark Puckenberg, representing Facebook, against ValassiRaptors, representing Valassis. If the loser of this series will be eliminated from the tournament, so it's going to be sad to see them go, but the nature of competition is such. So this draft starting off pretty similar to the previous draft. We've got Troll, Sand King, Bristleback, maybe we'll see Viper next. Band's looking pretty much the same. And if last game was anything to go by, it's definitely Valassis who needs to change things up. Just suffering from a huge lack of catch on their team. Weren't able to secure any kills because the Centaur just kept stampeding everyone away. So we'll see how Valassis tries to change up their draft to address this problem.
Only 10 seconds. Radiance ban.
And a Centaur banned out, caused them a lot of trouble in the last game. Although the Centaur didn't get picked till the second phase, so interesting that they banned it out first. I believe instead of the Centaur they banned it was another offlaner, I think.
Radiant's turn to royally screwed up.
But ValassiRaptors going with the Drow, trying to get some payback for last game where Slark Puckenberg picked Drow in the first pick, so using this opportunity to snatch the Drow Ranger. Doom banned out for Slark Puckenberg as well. You're gonna see Jakira again, and this is a very fast pick. Gonna go with Jug against the Drow Ranger. I think Jug does pretty well against Drow. Shadow Shaman picked up for ValassiRaptors, so very fast push lineup coming out of ValassiRaptors. Big attack speed aura for the Drow Ranger, and the Shadow Shaman Serpent Wards lets them take out the towers in a siege pretty effectively. Slark Puckenberg already also have Jakira to siege, but it's not really as effective as the Shadow Shaman. This is being played on 7.21D, so not the new patch that just came out a few days ago. So Jakira is not as he got buffed a bit in that patch, I believe. So the Liquid Fire doesn't miss anymore. The explosion still goes off even if the original attack misses, so it's like pretty nice for sieging the high ground. I've had a lot of situations with Jakiro where like that 40% miss chance against the uphill tower, just it keeps happening. You don't get the Liquid Fire damage. It feels terrible. I believe something else changed. No, it's just the Liquid Fire. But it definitely is a nice quality of life change for Jakiro. So we're gonna see Silencer, Nature's Prophet banner. So Silencer banned again. Again, I think Silencer is a genuinely terrible hero right now, and you should very, very rarely pick him. I would say like maybe if you're countering Enigma, but there are easier solutions like Rubik who are just able to do more by stealing the black hole instead of just casting silence. There's also a lot of ways out of the silence these days. The Greaves does a soft dispel to your entire team, so you can really get rid of that global silence really easily. And Dazzle Deucer banned out for Slark Puckenberg. Pretty smart stuff, at least the Deucer. I feel like Dazzle is just like completely fallen off the rails. He used to be so strong, and then just nerf after nerf after nerf. And he's in an okay place right now, very situational. But Deucer with Drow is going to be really strong. Dragon Knight with Drow as well. Nice hero duo. So it's going to be the safe lane Drow Ranger coming out of ValassiRaptors. Slark Puckenberg ran the mid Drow last game and had some good overall benefits for their team. A lot more levels on the support. The Faceless Void went mid up against the DK, who can't really pressure him that much, and the Jakiro just stayed at top in the dead lane, trying to soak as much XP as possible. Slark Puckenberg also picking up the Necroface pick. It didn't really work out that well for ValassiRaptors last game against the Drow Ranger, but hopefully this Necro decides to go for a more sensible item build. They still don't have that much catch on the side of Slark Puckenberg, so I would like to see the Atos come out, but if this is like an offlane Necrophos, maybe Atos isn't quite the right choice either. You want to focus on getting those aura items for your team. Greaves right now, or Crimson Guard, pretty nice for their team. I don't believe that marksmanship goes through damage reduction. It goes through armor and evasion, but not damage reduction. But hopefully someone will fact check me out. And we have a Pudge coming out for Slark Puckenberg. This is super exciting. Also a Venomancer, not a hero we see too often. So this is after the Disneyland Major. It is from like last week, I believe. So after the Disneyland Major, where Zai showed off his offlane Pudge, and I'm really hoping this is the offlane Pudge that Zai played. You get the level 1 flesh heap for 5 extra HP regen at level 1. Absolutely insane. In the meantime, we've got this Venomancer picked up for ValassiRaptors. It's quite interesting. Venomancer doesn't really scale that well with attack speed from the Drought Aura. Maybe this will be a support Veno, just trying to be that nuisance. And there's still not that much catch from Slark Puckenberg. They can get a nice hook, maybe a Blink Dismember, but it's kind of tough right now for them to get any initiations. Maybe Jakira can land some OP Ice Paths, but it's not reliable. Venomancer can definitely put a big dent in the tracks, and it doesn't seem like this Venomancer was much of a response pick. They picked the Veno really quickly after the Pudge, so maybe already thinking about Veno, and Veno with the Plague Wards, really good for spotting out the Pudge and just being irritating. You can also cancel the Blink if he decides to go for it. Necrophos might also want to consider a Blink this game, so the Plague Wards are going to be extra annoying. Sniper banned out for ValassiRaptors, quite smart stuff from them. Sniper would do really well against their team right now. You get to outrange the Drow Ranger, so it's pretty easy to 1v1 her, or at least pretty favorable to 1v1 her, and then you've got the long attack range to outrange the Serpent Wards in the Plague Ward. And a Lion's gonna come out to round out ValassiRaptors draft. Really interesting stuff coming out of them. I'm not really sure who it seems like Venomancer's gonna be the offlaner. He's it doesn't do too bad by building the aura items. He can tank up pretty significantly if he has the items for it. Otherwise, he just becomes paper. He's going to be up against the Jug, and the Jug is going to be pretty scary against the Venomancer. There's not much you can do to protect yourself. Veno's a really slow hero as well, and the Shadow Shaman also and Lion, both really slow heroes. So the Jug's going to have a bit of a field day depending on who's going to lane with him. Maybe it's going to be the Jakiro with the early point and dual breath, and be able to slow them down to the point where Jug can just run them down with a spin. There's not much that the Venomancer can do to protect himself. So let's see what Slark Puckenberg's final hero is going to be. If Pudge is the offlaner, then Necro is probably going to be mid, and that just leaves another support. But yeah, they could go with one of these like crazy options. They could also go pick someone who really shits on DK in the mid lane. And Necrophos does pretty well, if I recall correctly. I'm not a mid player, so don't really have the most up-to-date information on how mid matchups go. But I feel like Necrophos would do pretty well against DK. So this Pudge can still go off lane, or it could just be the position 4, and we can. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure SK plays Pudge. May have seen him in a previous game. I mean, another thing they could go for is Brewmaster would be pretty sweet here for Slark Puckenberg. Just throw the Drow into the air, and throw the Dragonite in the air and take out everyone else. They're gonna go with the Enigma. It's very rare that Enigma makes it past this draft, and it's still pretty viable. There's not many ways to cancel the Black Hole. The Dragon Tail is nice and up close. The Shadow Shaman spells as well are pretty up close, and once the BKB comes out for Enigma, there's nothing that can stop it. This Enigma's gonna have a field day out here. Blink BKB is just gonna completely wreck everyone. It's gonna be the position for Pudge. Fruitcase is pretty greedy usually, so he's not too happy with going position 4. But I gotta say, it doesn't seem too bad for Slark Puckenberg here. I think the lanes are going to be really strong in general. They're going to be able to completely crush the DK in mid with the Necrophos, if I recall what the matchup is correctly. And I mean, Jug is going to have a field day against Veno, and probably it looks like Lion's going to be the position 4. I feel like Lion is a little bit better as the 5 in this scenario instead of the Shadow Shaman, but we'll see how it
Prepare
goes.
yourselves. We're nearly ready.
Actually, Lion's going to be the 5 this game. Looks like he's the one who bought the wards. Didn't give them out to his team though. Let's introduce the teams. On the side of Slark Puckenberg, we've got Tex on the Juggernaut, a signature hero for him. Fruitcakes on the Enigma, another signature hero for him. PhD, Pursue Happiness directly on the Necrophos. Jersey on the Gurgi on the Pudge. And Chillbro Swaggers on the Jakiro again. So on the side of ValassiRaptors, we've got Dials on the Dragon Knight. New Relic on the Lion. Austin Sky 1 on the Drow Ranger, Cahill on the Shadow Shaman, and Old Droopy on the Venomancer. So Venomancer starting off with a lot of regen in this lane. Just 4 iron branches, so you can get that extra regen from the iron branch. I believe it's doubled. That's pretty effective. Tex being a complete cheapskate and not leveling up his battle pass. Not wanting to support the community here. Very disappointing for him. So we'll see what the Pudge decides to go for at level 1. Maybe he's watched some Zai games, but I feel like the Flesh Sheep is probably a bit better for offlane than for a position 4. I definitely probably want to see Rot level 1, but again, it's for the early point in Hook. He manages to get the Hook away on the Lion, but they're still going to miss the Bounty Rune. If you got the Bounty Rune instead, that would have been a lot better.
Match has begun.
And the big problem with level 1 Hook is the cooldown is so long, so if you miss it, you just feel like you're completely useless. But he's 1-0, so not too bad so far. And Venomancer and Jakiri just juking it out here. The Veno is definitely not very favored in this matchup. Jack has a lot of HP, and the Poison Sting does damage over time, doesn't stack either, and it's not a whole lot. It is a lot of damage over time, but it takes a really long time to kick in. 36 damage at level 1 over 6 seconds. It's less than a tango of regen, so not the most effective, but it is a little bit annoying. So mid lane, this DK taking a lot of heat from the Necro already, and the Jakiro gets the kill onto the Shadow Shaman, the spin as well, to help finish them off. Jakiro's out of mana now, but he does have a Mango and a Clarity left, so probably look to pop that here. And Slark Puckenberg off to a great start, and they're already going to win this top lane because they have an Enigma. So it looks like all 3 of their lanes are going to be pretty easy for them, and I'm gonna say that ValassiRaptors, they're in a pretty tight spot already. I know it's only like 1.5 minutes into the game, but perhaps they should have tried to switch the lanes up. The Drow against the Jug is still not that good, but you've got a little bit of a bigger range than the Venomancer, so maybe you can try and survive by outranging them a little bit. You can deal with the Jakiro a little bit better as well. And Veno against Pudge is not too bad, but the other thing is the Drow probably would have gotten a lot more experience as well. You could have considered Drow against the Necrophos in mid, or even the Veno against the Necro in mid. So Chillbro Swacking taking a little bit of pressure from the Veno and the Shadow Shaman, but the 2-man spin, there's a lot of damage coming out from this Jug, and the Veno, he's in a lot of trouble. He's going to end up going down. Nice crit from the Juggernaut. The RNG gets him that kill. The Dual Breath will miss the Shadow Shaman. So he's not going to be able to get that kill. The Jakiro's out of regen, so maybe you should look to Suicide here if you can. Looks like he's going to take the long walk home, which is actually a really big momentum killer in this lane. Hopefully Jakiro brings in Jug's items at least, but alright, well, Lion will go down at top. He looks like he just underestimated the Enigma. These Eidolons do a lot of damage. There's 6 of them, they all do 20 damage each, so it's a lot, and those are only level 1. Alright, it's 28 now. DK is just having a miserable time in mid. 15-6 against 3-1. This is not a good matchup for DK. One of the very few that actually don't go well. 3 hooks in a row on Pudge. This is where it's at. He just needs to run down the Shadow Shaman with a Rot. Jug also really low. Needs to do the Walk of Shame home. And Tex with the trash talk. Very disrespectful. And Pudge just messing with this line. No, actually, Pudge went bot. What am I talking about? He's level 3 now. It's level 2 hook. He's going to get pretty active with this one. Necro's actually getting pretty low, surprisingly, but the DK, he's completely out of mana. He's got a soul ring now, so this should help him in the lane a little bit. Necro just needs to get some more last hits, and then he'll completely heal back up to full, such is the nature of this hero. Death Pulse as well. Level 5 against the level 4 of DK, he's not too far behind, although Necro has been able to get a lot of denies here. Meanwhile, the Venom dies, he buys back in a fit of rage. The Shadow Shaman goes down anyway, but they just trade the Pudge in return. So it's pretty... Actually, it's only 400 gold. Less than 400 gold. That exchange didn't cost them very much. They're pretty far behind, so the Pudge gave them a pretty decent amount of money. Another Gale comes out, but will hit the Jug. The Dual Breath comes out onto the Venom, and Venom's in a lot of trouble. He's gonna go down again. He just bought back, so 25 seconds on the sideline. He also just TP'd into the lane, so he still has to do the Walk of Shame after he comes back. This game is looking very rough for Valassis already. They're already 2k gold behind 5 minutes into the game, not something you see too often. And experience-wise is the big one. They're like also 2k gold behind, but in the early levels, that's like probably a level per hero. Necro, he's level 6 now. He can just Reaper Scythe the DK and he's dead. 31 seconds on the sidelines.
Ah, sweet sepsis.
So great use of his first ultimate, just leveling up and just insta-killing the DK. DK should have probably known that he was getting close to level 6, because he's not too far from level 6 himself, and the Necro is ahead. So if you just make some assumptions about where the Necro is at, you can tell that the ulti is coming up soon. Let's see what Jug wants to go for this game. I mean, this game's going really well, so he could probably just go for like the Diffusal Blade Manta. But knowing Tex, he's pretty greedy, so he'd probably go for a Battle Fury this game. Wants to try and keep up with the Drow's farm. The Drow also not doing too well. She's only level 3 against this level 5 Enigma. Enigma's just having a field day up. He just doesn't care about anyone. Just keep denying these range creeps, and not much that the Drow can do against it. On the spin onto the DK. The DK's come bot now. I understand he can't lane mid anymore. The spin, the Dual Breath, the Ice Path is gonna attack this DK, but he's gonna be able to make it out because he's a tanky boy. But he's gonna be spending quite a while under this tower because the side of Facebook there, spells are up in 15 seconds. So this DK is gonna be in a lot of trouble if he comes back in. Haste on the Necroface. We'll see what he looks to do it. He doesn't have his ulti yet, so it's not really a good rotation for him. If he had the bottle, probably could have kept it instead. He's going to go for an Atos first. I like this a lot. They don't have a whole lot of catch on the side of Facebook right now, so it's also a nice setup for the Ice Path. We'll see what Jakiro wants to build into. This is probably a max Ice Path type of game. Just try to get some more AoE crowd control. You can also, it's pretty nice for blocking like the supports from ValassiRaptor from getting in. DK feeling a lot of pressure again from the Jug and the Jakiro. He might actually go down here. He's getting really low. And Tex stops for a last hit. He ends up going down. Nice crit. Blade Dance from the Jug. Chillbro Slogans will go down in the meantime. But the bigger kill on the DK is pretty worth, and now his personal courier service is back in town to pick up the face bits for Jug, and now DK can't come down here either. This DK is not really having much of a game. 4 heroes at the top of the net worth for Team Facebook. This game is even more of a looking like even more of a stop. Hook onto the Lion. Sludge has gotten most of his hooks that I've seen, and he just barely doesn't deny himself. The Lion will end up going down. It was a pretty big kill for the Lion. He got a decent amount of experience out of it as well, so not too bad. Jug spins onto the Shadow Shaman, so Shadow Shaman's gotta go down here, make a kill for the Juggernaut. He's gonna go for a quick drum, so just feeling to be very aggressive this game. He understands how far ahead his team is. They're already 6k gold ahead 8 minutes into the game. This is absurd. Reaper Scythe onto the Venomous. I won't get the bonus death duration, but we'll end up picking the kill anyway, picking up the kill afterwards anyway. So he still gets the regen from the Venom kill, which is pretty nice for him. Feels very important to get the regen after getting kills with Necro. If you cast your ulti and you don't get the kill with it, and you don't get the regen kill, just feel like you have to spend so long getting your mana back up.
Dire's middle tower is being attacked.
Venomance back mid. He's level 5 now, so he's not doing.
Denied.
Yeah, he's probably doing one of the best. Actually, not at all. 1200 net worth. What am I saying? Alright, well, Drought's gonna go down to the Pudge and Enigma combo. Enigma uses Black Hole for that, but this part of the game, you're not really expecting team fights, so it's pretty reasonable to just go for the Black Holes to secure kills. Shakira going back to Dual Breath. I think we saw this last game. Well, okay, the DK just died to the creeps. Very uncommon there. He has a lot of armor. The hook will miss. This band does bleed after all. 10-minute boundary is going to be for going the way of Facebook. Drow, she's hitting the jungle. She's not even level 6 yet. You don't want to see this from your Drow rangers. Even in this patch when Drow was broken piece of shit, she's not as good anymore. The marksmanship doesn't instantly kill ancients anymore, which is nice. And also the changes to the armor piercing is nice. It only pierces base armor, so the armor that your hero starts with, plus like any armor you get from agility. But this plus armor, for example, Dragon Blood plus 6, doesn't get reduced anymore. So at least you can finally itemize against Drow. Don't feel like a plate mail is completely a waste of money. And Drow gets hooked and will go down. The Dismember not even being used to save his mana. Going for an early Blink Dagger as well. I think we're going to see a pretty quick game here. It's win rate already hitting 100%. Jakira in a little bit of trouble. The spin through from Jug. The Jakira will end up going down. Jug, he has Omni Slash, but he doesn't have any. He doesn't even have Omni Slash here. It's on cooldown. Jazz here now, and she doesn't have any points in Gust. And the Hex onto the Jug, but there's no mana left. The Elder Dragon Form comes out with the Dragon Tail. Will eventually finish up the Jug. So pretty big kill for the Drow Ranger. 396 gold for her, but still very, very far behind. Meanwhile, the Enigma just farming away. He's going for a pipe. He doesn't even care about the Black Hole right now. Just helping his team tank up. The pipe would be nice against the Finger of Death and the Poison Nova. Venomancer gets banished to the Shadow Realm. Could be a quick death for him. 39 seconds on the sidelines as well. So Necro with the Atos, he can get any solo kill he wants. He's almost got level 4 death pulse as well. He picked up the strength talent. I feel like you normally see the damage talent on Necro. It's just pretty nice for him. He needs a little bit more oomph to get the kills by himself. Another kill for the Jug. Try to make up for that embarrassing death earlier. He drew a lot of fire from the enemy team though. There was like 5 heroes attacking him. He still didn't die for a long time. A tip onto the Drow Ranger. She's finally hit level 6. It's time to sit in the jungle for 15 minutes. But Facebook, they've already got a ward looking over this ancient spot. So it's going to be pretty hard for this Drow to farm there. They've got 2 wards in this triangle. They really want this triangle. Lion, he's walking up the hill. He's in a lot of danger now. He might get hooked here. We'll see if Pudge decides to go for it. Not going to. So I kind of feel like if you're doing this well, you might as well just go for the max liquid fire on Jakiro and try and push the towers down as quickly as possible, but I can respect the max dual breath build. Liquid fire definitely seems like the most situational, but it feels like the most when you're ahead, get more ahead type thing. But if you didn't have a hot start like the Shakira did, liquid fire is not the build to go. It's very underwhelming in combat, and usually when you're behind, the best way to come back is to get a hook onto the lion and not dismember him apparently and get fingered. So nice pick up for the lion there.
There's a fine line between bravery and stupidity.
So that's what you do when you're behind, just get hooked and then kill the Pudge afterwards. Ice Path comes out onto the Shadow Shaman and Omni Slash, a little bit overkill. He could have just used the Blade Fury, but wants to feel the wrath of that last death on the Jug. Just he got hexed and shackled and then hexed again. The Jug ended up dying, and it's all the Shadow Shaman's fault, so I can definitely feel Tex's rage on the Shadow Shaman there. And again, like, they're not really looking for team fights right now, so it's pretty worth to use these ultimates to get pickoffs. And we're gonna get this tower out of it as well. Mid lane, the DK, it looks like he didn't even get hooked. He gets banished to the Shadow Realm himself. So he's in the Shadow Realm for a long time, 60 seconds. So probably just got ATOS'd and then dismembers. It's one of the beautiful things about the Necrophos. This Pudge doesn't even have to go for his own ATOS. He's got the Necro to set up with the ATOS for a hook. Alright, Lion. He sees the Pudge with the Observer Ward. And it's time to run, dude. Necro gonna go for a Yules next. I'm not really convinced about this one. It seems a bit odd. They should just go for... This is a Radiance game on the Necrophos. He's doing so well, and the Necro is just gonna press the other team. The other team doesn't even have much HP. Lion has 820. Drow has a pretty decent amount at 1100. Shadow Shaman has 900 HP. Like, these guys don't have much HP. Even the DK doesn't have much HP. He has a lot of regen and armor, but his strength gain is not the highest. There are supports with higher strength gain. Macropie comes out, the Jug would just spin away. Nothing to cancel it because even though the Jug was first picked, they didn't pick anything to pierce BKB.
Dire's middle tower is being attacked.
The mid T2 just gonna get taken out here. Enigma has a black hole, so they definitely shouldn't mess with him. The Reaper Scythe isn't up for 30 seconds, so ATOS onto the DK, and they just walk away from this. Nice disengage from Facebook. The Jakiro getting tipped. I'm not really sure why. Guess the Yules is nice, so the Jakiro can set up for an Ice Path. PhD, he's just being a bro for his team, setting up his supports for success here. Very non-stereotypical offlaner who's completely selfish. Dragon Tail onto the Enigma, but a hook from the Pudge will save the Enigma from any further harass. The silence is over on the Enigma. DK gets banished to the Shadow Realm. The Black Hole comes in onto the last three heroes, the Macropia as well, and it's a full team wipe for Facebook Slark Puckenberg. They completely destroy ValassiRaptors. So nice hook from Pudge, saving the Enigma. I don't think the Enigma was in that much danger. He's pretty tanky, 1300 HP, 6 armor, and a buttload. 61% magic resist. It's not someone you want to mess with. He's going to go for a blink next, and just a BKB. But he managed to hold the black hole long enough to get all three of the remaining heroes, and none of them get stunned. And they're in the high ground already. 17 minutes into the game. Hex onto the Pudge. Yeah. Lion gets hooked, will be taken out in the corner. Finger of Death won't be able to finish anyone off. The Drow Ranger goes down to the Omni Slash on the side. Venomous will also go down here. Buyback from the Lion. This game is looking pretty over. GG is called. So ValassiRaptor, they'll get eliminated from the competition. Very unfortunate for them. But it definitely improved somewhat throughout the season. Just not able to keep up with Slark Puckenberg. They definitely need to work on the drafting a little bit more. But some of their plays were okay, at least. But this game and the last game, they got completely outdrafted by the Centaur. They don't have enough lockdown. They sort of tried to adjust the lockdown this time. The Lion and the Shadow Shaman. They're both pretty slow heroes and aren't really able to get on the back lane. And more importantly, they don't do a whole lot of damage. And Pudge, Necrophos, Enigma, pretty beefy heroes. Even the Jakiro is a pretty beefy hero. So just a bit lacking on that front. And Facebook Slark Puckenberg, they will move on to the next round. Let's see who they're going up against next. So Slark, they're going up against Amazon Prime Courier. Oh, this is gonna be pretty tough. I think Amazon Prime Courier is probably one of the favorites to win. So going into the playoffs, there's basically 3 tiers of teams. So there's Amazon Prime Courier, Amazon Fishing Boat V2, and Beta Marana Gangs. They're all sitting at 7 wins and 1 loss each. And then the next tier of teams, 5 and 3, we've got Capone, What's in Your Warlock, Facebook Middle Newsfeed, and Visita Hardy Discord. And then we've got our 4-4s, Google Team C, Workday, Google Team A, Twitter, Google Team E, Google Team Bernanate. It's a lot of teams at 4-4. Motion in the Roshan, Microsoft, Facebook Slark Puckenberg, $6 million ecosystem. So it kind of looks like all the teams who went 3 and 5 and below are playing. So it should be the bottom 10 teams playing in the round of 32. Because then 5 of them go home, and there's 16 left in the tournament for the round of 16, which makes sense. But anyway, sad to see ValassiRaptors go home today with